This is Twit.
This episode of iFive for the iPhone is brought to you by Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now, go to harrys.com. You can get $5 off your first purchase by entering the code iFive when you check out. Welcome to iFive for the iPhone, episode 162. iFive covers the latest iPhone apps, tips and tricks, and of course news. I am Megan Morrone, and over the weekend I went on an epic hero's journey full of love and loss, all in the name of this rose gold iPhone 6s Plus. Like any good hero's journey, it was full of death and rebirth, threshold guardians in the form of people and robots willing to wait in line on launch day, and helpers such as Barbara, the Midwestern Apple support person who advised me against driving 27 miles to the Apple store on Friday morning, and then finally, the genius at the store on Saturday who told me that new shipments are coming into the stores every morning at 8 a.m., and what I had to do was go online at 8 a.m. to make an appointment to reserve the phone in a store, which is what I did, which is why I now have this phone that I can show you. Number one, let's get to the most important feature of the 6S, 3D Touch, which lets you peek and pop. Peek and pop let you preview content without fully opening it. It also lets you do what you need to do with fewer taps. For those of you who don't like change, one of the important things to know is that most things work the same way they always have. Tap to open, tap and hold to delete icons, but here are a few new tricks that only require some additional pressure. To be clear, you can still tap and hold, but pressing harder will unleash the new options. Press the iMessage icon to go directly to a frequent contact or to create a new message. Press the phone to access frequent contacts or to create a new contact. Press Apple Music to search or go to the last played song or open Beats One radio. Press the clock to create an alarm, start a stopwatch, or start a timer. If you're anything like me, these tricks are nice to learn about, but until you get a 6S in your hands, it's hard to see how useful these features really are. So if you're considering getting a 6S or a 6S Plus, I recommend heading to a store or asking a friend if you can play with theirs to try it out first and see if it's worth it to you. Number two, the other much touted feature is live photos, which I found a bit underwhelming. And don't be confused as I was trying to take a live photo in burst mode by holding down the shutter button. This can be especially confusing because that's how you take short videos on Snapchat. But with live photos turned on by default, you just take a picture and your phone will record the seconds just before and just after the photo was taken. It will also record sound. My first attempts were interesting, but they were nothing like the beautiful images that Apple showed off with their live photo demo. If you've got tricks for great live photos, send them to me at megan@twit.tv. And if you want to turn live photos off, tap the yellow concentric circle icon at the top of your screen. Number three is Apple Watch cases from Griffin. Now, whether you're after style or protection, Griffin offers a few cases that you might want to consider. Let's start with style first, as it seems less and less likely that Leo or anyone else is going to be buying me that $1,500 equestrian-inspired Hermes cuff Apple Watch. But that doesn't mean I can't add a little fashion to my Apple Watch Sport. The ultra-thin cases from Griffin easily snap on and off to change the color of your watch and to simulate a precious metal. They come in a 3-pack for $19.99. Here are your color options: gold, matte gold, and clear, or silver, matte silver, and clear, or silver, matte gold, and clear. They are super easy to snap on, which unfortunately also means that they snap off just as easily. They are very easy to lose, so be careful or you'll end up popping one off and not noticing until after it gets run over by a car in the parking garage at work and someone brings it in to say, "I believe this is yours." If you're more fastidious than I am, these cases will protect your watch from scratches, but if you're worried about dings and dents from high impacts, you might want to try the Griffin Survivor Tactical Case. For $29.99, you get a rugged shell with a plastic cover that fits snugly over your Apple Watch and still offers easy access to the digital crown, the side button, and the touchscreen. The Survivor Tactical Cases come in colors matched to various Apple Watch sport bands in white, blue, green, pink, and black. After wearing this for a few days, I found that it also easily pops off if you catch it on something when you're reaching into your purse. Now, if you don't find yourself doing that very often and you're afraid of cracking the screen on your watch, give it a try. Of course, what you gain in protection, you lose in style. So if someone buys you an Hermes Apple Watch, please promise me that you won't cover it with a Griffin Tactical Case. Thank you. You can buy the Survivor and the ultra-thin cases to fit both the 38mm and the 42mm watches. This episode of iFive for the iPhone is brought to you by Harry's. Harry's is fixing a problem most of us have, paying too much for overpriced razors. Now, let's admit shaving isn't fun. Sometimes we cut or scrape ourselves with dull blades. Razors are expensive. They run about $4 a blade. A guy who shaves every day spends hundreds of dollars a year just on razors, Gillette Fusion, for example. And when we go to the store to buy them, sometimes we have to deal with those pesky locked up plexiglass cabinets. It's a huge pain. Now there's a company that's fixing all of that just for us. It's called Harry's. Harry's gives us high-quality razors at about half the price of those big brand blades. Harry's makes their razors in their own factory in Germany. They engineer them for sharpness and high performance. They ship them free right to your front doorstep. In each kit, you get a razor with a handle that looks and feels great, 3 razor blades, and foaming shave gel. So go to harrys.com and get $5 off your first purchase with the code iFive. That's HARRYS.com and enter the code iFive at checkout. And we thank Harry's for their support of iFive for the iPhone. Number 4 is the Smart Talk. I know, I talk about kids and technology a lot, and I'm well aware that some of you do not have children at home anymore, and some of you don't have children yet, and some of you probably don't even want children. But to quote the great Whitney Houston, children are our future. So even if you don't have young children, you probably know some kids, and this information might help. A few weeks ago, I talked about these sometimes awkward conversations parents need to have before handing over an iPhone to their children. Now, an American identity theft company called LifeLock has teamed up with the National Parents and Teachers Association to create an online tool that helps parents customize smartphone rules for their child with their child. Because every child is different and every family has different values, rules for smartphone use are going to vary too. I considered myself a bit of an expert on this topic, but when I went through this thorough tool, I realized that there were a lot of issues I hadn't even thought of, like setting a rule about asking permission before you record a video of someone, or determining before who's going to pay to repair the phone if and when it breaks. The great thing about this tool is that you go through it with your child and gather their input on the rules. Then the site uses your answers to create a printable list of smartphone guidelines that you can hang in a public area in the house. It takes about 15 minutes to go through the whole tool, and even though you can look through it first on your own, I really recommend sitting down with your child to fill out the final version. You can find the site at thesmarttalk.org. Number 5 is a tip from Mark from Novato, California. Mark writes, I use Siri for reminders very often. I have several different reminders lists and find that specific lists with Siri don't have very high success rates yet. So since I mostly use reminders with Siri for the grocery list, I set reminders default list to food. I called the grocery list food in an attempt to increase Siri's success rate. It works on some days and not on others. Now I only have to say, add chicken to reminders, and this has a much higher success rate for me. So thanks, Mark. Now, if you have tips, ideas, questions, or general feedback, you can send them to iFive@twit.tv. And that does it for this episode. So thanks for watching. All of the apps, links, and other info from the show can be found at twit.tv/iFive, or you can leave us a voicemail at 614 on IFIVE. I am Megan Morrone. We'll see you next week on iFive for the iPhone.
Bandwidth for iFive for the iPhone is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.